Ok, bienvenue, bonjour. Aujourd'hui, c'est le mercredi 13 janvier. Hein? Donc, les mêmes objectifs qu'hier. Same objectives. All right. On va commencer d'abord par un petit rappel de pen pal, et puis un petit échauffement, et puis des questions sur l'activité de conversation. Puis, on va s'entraîner pour les deux activités. Donc, un petit rappel, hein, please respond to your pen pal if you haven't done so recently. I'll be speaking with Madame Jourdan a little later today, maybe after this class, and I know that she's expressed that some students are sad they haven't gotten some answers. So if you've hit it off with your pen pal, awesome. I'm so glad to hear it. And if you haven't, that's okay. Sometimes that happens, but do please respond, if only just a little bit. Ok, donc pour l'échauffement, comment ça va aujourd'hui? Hein? So I'll go ahead and make it so I can see everybody's screen. Comment ça va? I'd love to hear how you're doing. Donc je suis stressé, ça ne va pas, ça va très bien ou je suis fatigué. Ok, ok. Beaucoup de gens sont stressés et fatigués. Bon, on est presque à la fin du semestre. On est presque là. Ok, donc tu portes quoi? So I wanted to make a moment to go over the activity we'll be doing tomorrow and Friday and invite y'all to ask me questions about it. So again, tomorrow and Friday, I'll bring you and a partner into a breakout room to complete the tu portes quoi conversation, conversation, okay? And then you'll do the Où est Charlie quiz. So we'll review a little bit for Où est Charlie today. So at any given time, tomorrow and Friday, you'll be doing one of four things. You'll be preparing for your conversation, your tu portes quoi conversation. You'll be preparing for that. You'll be doing the conversation in a breakout room with me and your partner. You'll be doing the Où est Charlie quiz, or you'll just be chilling in the Zoom and maybe catching up for other classes or just resting and relaxing, okay? So at any given point during the next couple of days, you'll be in the Zoom. So same Zoom, same time, same place. We'll just be doing those activities, okay? You'll be doing one of those four things. So here are the 5 situations. Voici les 5 occasions. Donc un mariage, une soirée, un match de foot, un rendez-vous, un entretien. So these are the 5 situations that you're thinking of to think, okay, well, what am I going to be wearing? All right, and then once again, here is the rubric. Somebody was confused last hour with like, why is it 10, 9, 8, 6.5, 15, 13.5, 12? It looks random, but I promise it's not. This is 100%. This is 90%. This is 80%. This is 65%, so well below expectations. And then 0 is just nothing was turned in. You didn't show up for it or yeah, okay. So they look random, but they're not, I promise. So task completion, did you just show that you can use this vocabulary? Did you show Mr. Hare that, all right, like you've mastered it? And the outfit was appropriate for the event, right? So if you're wearing pajamas to a wedding, right, for example. Were you easily understood? Did you speak relatively smoothly? So here we're not looking for fluency, right? I'm not expecting you to be fluent and to be 100% perfect, right? But were you able to express yourself? Were you easily understood? And did you use vocabulary from the unit? It's tempting to memorize answers, to memorize outfits and stuff, but I'm going to encourage you all to try to speak normally, so that it's not just memorized. If you're in a conversation, and the idea of that is if you're in a conversation in a French-speaking country, you won't be able to just recite, just memorize things, right? You'll want to be able to draw on some vocabulary to answer questions that you didn't necessarily expect, right? So we're trying to imitate that situation. And then finally, did you listen actively? Did you ask questions or answer questions, right? All right, so I want to pause for a moment. So I recommend taking notes for sure on something like this size. This is not a note card, but you get the idea, like roughly that size of an index card or something. And the reason I'm saying that is not because I'll check that and you'll get marked off if it's bigger or something like that. No, the idea of having that smaller note card is so that you can just put ideas or things that you want to remember, right? So for each situation, maybe you have a certain thing that you want to make sure you mention. But the note card isn't big enough to write complete sentences. So the idea is if you're writing complete sentences on your note card, you're going to end up reading those. And that'll hurt your grade in terms of like repeating memorized answers, or it sounds like you're just reading. And again, the idea is to prepare you for a situation in a French-speaking country where you're going to have to improvise a little bit, where you're going to have to recall information and try to recall some vocabulary to answer a question. So again, if you do use a note card, more power to you. Definitely feel free to do that. But I would recommend a smaller note card with just notes, like bullet points. So I said, for example, for me, if I were preparing for this, I'd split the note card up into 5 parts and I'd have, okay, this situation, this situation, this situation, this situation, this situation. And I want to really make sure I'm talking about des talons for un mariage. I really want to make it clear. I don't want to forget that I'm wearing heels to a wedding. Des talons, une robe, or une robe rouge, right? So you want to really remember, okay, red, red. So just prompts to trigger your memory, to remind you, not complete sentences. Other questions for me about what's happening tomorrow and Friday? Okay, if questions come up, feel free to email me, get in touch. Okay, so let's practice Où est Charlie? So again, tomorrow and Friday, you'll either be doing the conversation or preparing for it, or you'll be doing Où est Charlie, right? Which is an asynchronous Canvas quiz that you'll be doing. So Où est Charlie is the French version of Where's Waldo? Charlie is a very Americanized name. Charles would be the French version, but Charlie is very, very, very American. Okay, so let's do a quick review. All right, so for this activity, I'm going to be asking, can you basically read a text message from your pen pal, imagining you're going to go meet your pen pal, and recognize them in a crowd? All right, so you will recognize this from the last time we did it, right? So you've already seen this image, so A, B, C, or D. And so in the Canvas quiz, you'll be doing multiple choice. Okay, which person is this? And you'll get an image of a text message from the person saying, okay, well, this is what I'm wearing. So let's practice this a little bit. So in the chat, be prepared to put A, B, C, or D. Ok, donc, je porte une robe noire, un collier et des sandales. J'ai les cheveux noirs. C'est A, B, C, D ou E. Je porte une robe noire, un collier et des sandales. J'ai les cheveux noirs. See a couple answers. Oui, ok. D, c'est la personne D. Très bien. Ok, une robe noire, des sandales. On ne voit pas les sandales. We don't see sandals, right? Mais on voit un collier, un necklace, un collier, et des cheveux noirs. Okay, so we can kind of use process of elimination. Okay, let's try another one. Ok, je porte un chemisier blanc, une jupe et des lunettes soleil. J'ai les cheveux courts. A, B, C, D ou E? C'est quelle personne? So again, tomorrow, once you've done the clothing conversation, once you've done the tu portes quoi conversation with me and a partner in a breakout room, you'll then go into Canvas and do the Où est Charlie activity. And it's going to look very similar to what we just did, okay? Probably a different image, but you're going to get the text messages, an image of people in a crowd with labels, A, B, C, D, E, and it'll be multiple choice, all right? Okay. Okay, tu portes quoi? So I wanted to make a time, some time to review for this, to do some practice, right? And let's review real quick the questions that we talked about yesterday. Donc, qu'est-ce que tu dis quand tu ne comprends pas quelqu'un? So when you don't understand somebody, what are you going to say? Qu'est-ce que tu dis? There's some questions we could ask if we don't understand someone. Comment? Très bien. Oui. Comment? Comment? And again, this is the polite version of what? Okay. So please go ahead and practice that at home on mute. Comment? Comment? And I see another answer. Oui. Répétez. Répétez. Okay. Comment? Comment? And then répétez. Or répète-toi, s'il te plaît. Repeat yourself, please. Okay. Répète-toi, s'il te plaît. Let's practice that one too. So practice that pronunciation at home. Répète-toi, s'il te plaît. OK. OK. Et puis imagine que ton partenaire dit, ta partenaire dit, je porte une veste. OK. Bah, what could you ask to learn more about the jacket that they're wearing? Quelle question est-ce qu'on pourrait poser pour savoir plus? Je porte une veste? OK. Bah, what are some questions we might ask to get more information about that jacket they're wearing? You're welcome to say it out loud or to put it in the chat. Oui, très bien. Donc, so what style of jacket? Okay. C'est quel style? C'est quel style? So I want to practice pronunciation at home. C'est quel style? Je porte une veste. Ah, c'est quel style? C'est chic. C'est tendance. C'est rétro. OK. Ou bien, c'est quelle couleur? Hein? Je porte une veste. Ah, c'est quelle couleur? C'est quelle couleur? Ah, c'est bleu. Je porte une veste bleue. OK. C'est quelle couleur? Très bien. Quelqu'un a dit dans le chat, où l'avez-vous acheté? Très bien. Ouais, si vous voulez. Où l'avez-vous acheté? Ouais. Ça, c'est extra. That's going above and beyond if you asked that. And it's also going above and beyond. Tu aimes cette veste? So if you want to push yourself a little bit, extra questions you might ask. Again, this is if you want to really push yourself. Tu aimes cette veste? Tu aimes cette robe? Tu aimes ce chemisier? Do you like it? They might respond oui ou non. Où l'as-tu acheté? Où l'as-tu acheté? Where did you buy it? If you want to, you can ask that. But really, I'm mostly looking for these first two. C'est quel style? C'est quelle couleur? OK. Boop. OK. Donc aujourd'hui, on va nous entraîner. On va s'entraîner là-dessus. So I'm going to send you into breakout rooms. Make sure to choose one with your partner. So I'm going to try to, this was a little tricky last hour where folks were having trouble getting into their breakout rooms. So I'm going to try to set you up for success with that, where I'm going to try to assign people to breakout rooms. And I'll just ask you to find your partner in there. All right. So in your breakout rooms, you're going to take turns. So one pair is going to complete the activity and have that conversation, while the other pair is going to listen and evaluate. And then you're going to switch. And then finally, at the end of class, have one group member create a copy of these slides, and I'll show you the slides in a moment, that you'll be using for peer review. Make a copy of it and then submit it to Canvas. And I'll show that to you in a moment. So take about 5 minutes for group A to go for the first pair, about 5 minutes for the second group to go, or the second pair, and then about 3 minutes to discuss. All right. 2 minutes, I guess. We'll see. We'll see how things go. All right. I want to make sure that you have plenty of time to do this. Okay. So, tu portes quoi? Peer review. So this is what the slides look like. So you'll go ahead and open this in a moment. I'll send you a link to it. You'll open this. You've got a link to where to turn them in once you're finished. You'll put your group names, the people in your group. And these are the 5 events, right? These are the 5 situations that you're preparing for. And so you'll see there are a bunch of different slides. So say, for example, Amy and Charlotte and Caden and Stephanie are in a group together, just for example. Okay, so let's say Amy's presenting with Charlotte and they're having that conversation, and then Caden and Stephanie are going to listen. So Caden's going to say, okay, I'm going to listen to Amy. So Caden will put Amy's name here and Caden's name here. Okay, and then if you want to, you can roll for a random one of the 5 events. It's a D5. We call it a D5 in D&D. It's a 5-sided dice instead of a 6-sided dice. So you can get 2 of those 5 events, right? And then while Amy is having the conversation with Charlotte, Caden's going to listen really closely and think, okay, was Amy easy to understand? Definitely yes. So he'll move the star over here. Did you use a good variety? Mostly, yeah, it could have been a little better. So we'll move the star here. And then did Amy ask follow-up questions? No, right? We'll say no, okay? And so we'll put the star here. So again, putting stars in different places to show like where they were. And then comments like, hey, listen, you did a really great job of this, this, and this, but you might want to work on this a little bit in preparation. All right. And so there are a bunch of different slides like that so that you can all get some practice in. And then finally, once it's complete, hopefully we can finish this today. You'll turn in the slides to Canvas, and there's a link right here to where you'll turn it in Canvas. All right. So I'll go ahead and send out a link to those slides. Okay, so welcome back. So real quick in the chat, were there any takeaways, or if anybody wants to speak up, was there something that was helpful that y'all talked about? Did you get some good feedback, I hope? So again, tomorrow we'll jump right into the activity where I'll be pulling you into breakout rooms. Maybe I'll spend the first 10 minutes giving you some time to practice with your partner again in those same breakout rooms, just so that we make sure that you're feeling really good coming into it. And if you have finished that slide that you've shared, make sure to turn that in on Canvas, not for a grade, but just so I can look it over real quick and just make sure that y'all are getting that good feedback. You can find a link to that right here, right? So you can just click on this link and it'll take you to where to turn it in. And it's just a URL, like sharing it. All right, if there are questions, I'll be sticking around a little bit. Otherwise, I will see y'all tomorrow. À demain. Au revoir.